BMW M5 competition pack. First, I'm going to start by showing you around the car. We'll start at the front. This car is equipped with a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8, making about 570 horsepower. If you look around the car, this car is not fitted with carbon ceramic brakes, but still has cool brake calipers. You head to the back here, see one of my favorite details about this car, which is the carbon tipped BMW performance exhausts. They sound pretty good. Next, I'm going to show you one of the most surprising things I've found about the BMW M5, which is here in the back seat. Come and sit back here. You'll notice I'm 6 feet tall and I'm sitting behind myself. It's a very comfortable amount of legroom. Also, the interior is absolutely fantastic. You have these Bang & Olufsen aluminum finished speakers with carbon fiber everywhere, screens all over the interior, red, beautiful leather seats, tons and tons and tons of headroom. Frankly, it doesn't get much better than this. So I've just stepped into this 2016 BMW M5. As you look around this interior, first of all, it's red. And red is cool. And second of all, look at all the carbon fiber that BMW put in this center console. It's frankly unbelievable. And as you start the car, you see one of the coolest features of it. This Bang & Olufsen speaker that slowly rises out of the dashboard to greet you. Also, you'll notice this beautiful gray suede headliner that really complements the red. One thing I'd like to talk about is the digital display. I don't know if you can see that, but if you want to come over here and take a look at it. So you see this heads-up display in the window, which is really cool. It's very customizable. You can see all your music, your revs. You can demonstrate that now, right there. It's really cool. Something that BMW did really well with this car is the 360 cameras. Now, you got this over-the-head one, which looks like BMW just flies a drone over your car and points it down. It's really incredible. It's really helpful with getting in the lines of parking spaces and seeing any obstacles you don't want to hit, like that skateboard behind us. Also, you can change it to rear view, which is pretty cool. Change the lines, turn those off. You can obstacle mark, which is those green things. And it also has 2 side view cameras that you can turn on when you're driving, and you can keep them all on when you're driving and just keep an eye out for your blind spots and everything. Now, there you go. So, you can also turn off the parking sensors. It's totally customizable. Now, if we go into the infotainment system, I love BMW split screen. You can keep something on this side, you can turn it off, you can have nav, and then you can have your music over here. It's really, really intuitive, easy to use. Everything's right at your fingertips. You don't have to reach like on the new touchscreen. You don't have to think about this while you're driving. Everything is at your fingertips, or it's over here. And also, the heads-up display will show stuff that's going on in your multimedia system, and so will the screen inside of the dash. It's really, really intuitive, it's easy to use, and it's not very distracting, which I think is something that a lot of car companies are overlooking right now. So I'm Shane.
I'm Sam.
Parking mode off.
And our parking mode is currently... So one thing that you might notice in the footage is that this car is kind of jerky in parking structures. Like, this transmission is really fun for going fast. It's responsive. It's great. It's like an exotic transmission. Unfortunately, however, it's kind of like a manual because it'll roll backwards on hills, and it's jerky. When you let off the gas while you're in gear, it kind of does that. It bucks. So it is a little, it's a little aggravating in parking lots, but other than that,
It's not traffic friendly.
It's not traffic friendly.
But you're not getting this car for the Eco Warrior status anyway, so.
No. Even though it does have an eco mode, which I'm sure is commonly used. So on the competition pack, it is slightly lower, so it is a little bit of a worry when you go through dips. You have to be a little careful. So one interesting thing about this specific M5 is that it's probably one of the most expensive M5s option of 2016.
Got the sticker right here. Let's take a little trip down Checkbook Lane. Okay, this car comes down to $133,050. I don't know. Focus on that.
The only option Sammy and I can think of that it doesn't have is carbon ceramic brakes, but I really don't. I don't think I'd miss it.
It's not really missing anything.
Yeah. So this car has a 575 horsepower, 4.4 liter twin turbo V8, and let me just say this: it is a monster. I've never been in a sedan that pulls nearly as hard as this. There's nothing that I've been in that's in the same league.
It makes you
Pretty
giddy.
incredible.
Giddy with excitement.
It does make you giddy. It does. It's very giddy, and it sounds really good. This has the optional performance exhaust. You might have seen that on the might have seen that on the specs list.
There's so many options. It's hard to find.
Let's give it a little takeoff here. Anyways, the traction control light was on through that whole run to 60 miles an hour there, which is pretty fun. A little backfire action going on. I don't know if you can hear it in the film, but trust me, it sounds pretty good. Pretty good.
Has a $3,700 Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is pretty good.
Pretty good. One thing about the exhaust, which you'll probably see in the footage, is that it's carbon fiber tipped, which is surprisingly cool. It's expensive, but
$1,600 to be exact for those carbon fiber tips.
yeah. But I honestly think it's kind of worth it. It looks really sick, and it stands out from the standard ones.
Definitely a unique feature that sets it apart.
Yeah,
those
definitely sets it
those
apart.
carbon fiber tips are also attached to a performance exhaust, which costs $7,845.
Yes, which is a little. I mean, it's a lot of money, but I guess when you're spending over $100,000 on a car, and the exhaust sound really good, so I guess if you're spending that much money, it's not that huge of a deal.
It's small in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
But if you break it down, it is a lot of money. But it's not unusual for cars like this to do stuff like that.
No, not at all. It's factory exhausts are always a ton of money. Like on the RS7, I think they're at least over $5,000. AMG performance exhausts are expensive. It's not unusual. This M5, I think this year the F10 is probably one of the best value propositions on the market to buy used, because it's got more power than you'd ever need. It's good. It's one of the best looking M5s in my opinion. It looks a lot better than the E60 before it, and the interior is so nice. It doesn't look dated. Leather's perfect. It's so nice. It's got as many gadgets as you want. The only thing you're missing on the F90 that I can really say it's a big difference is the optional 4-wheel drive system. But burnouts are fun. I don't miss that. I can just.
This car is traction challenged though.
It's traction challenged, but that's fun. That's what makes it so interesting. You just get to burn rubber. It's great.
As long as you're okay with spending quite a bit of money on tires,
yeah,
this is the car for you.
It is. It's the car for people who like burnouts, and it sounds good while it does it. But back to what I was saying, the F90 is going to be expensive for a while. This car on the used market would run about 70 grand around there, and its sticker price was 133,000. So you're thinking you're saving about 50 grand on the car. It's about 2 years old, if not more. It's about 2 years old. It's got 10,000 miles on it. It's perfect. It's in perfect condition. It's just a great value proposition. One thing I think about this car is it's just a big middle finger to the world. It just is. It's like if someone said, well, the Hummer isn't obnoxious enough, let's make it Let's put all that obnoxiousness into a four-door sedan. That's basically what BMW did with this M5, especially the competition one, because it is really loud. Like, it'll set off car alarms once in a while. It's impressive, and you know, it's a statement. It's a bit of a statement, but at the same time, it doesn't mean much to people unless they know cars. If they know what they're talking about, because if you're just driving normally, you know, you're being quiet, no one's really gonna know what it is unless they know what an M5 is. So if you don't want to you want to draw attention, you just want a performance sedan that does what you want. It's nice and subtle for that too.
This car is pretty subtle, but the people who do know about it, like, really notice it.
They go crazy for it. This car is honestly a lot like a 7 Series, just slightly shrunken. It's got tons of room, tons of luxury. I can sit here, I can cool my butt down. I have this thing I call active ass. It like it moves you to, like, it's supposed to help your back. It's comfy. Everything's comfy.
Lots of luxury in this car. It's kind of crazy how much you get.
You get a lot.
You get almost best of both worlds. I mean, you are paying a price for it, but it's definitely worth it.
You get the performance. Well, you get more performance than an M3, at least in a straight line. But you get the comfort of, like, an S-Class. You get the comfort suspension. It's crazy how much it changes when you put it in the Sport, too. I'll see what Sammy thinks of it. Yeah.
Continue straight.
So, you can pretty much tell pretty quickly that it just gets a little harder. You can feel it.
Sitting from here, I don't see any blank switches on this car, which to me is, like, really.
What was that, Sammy?
It's really unusual for a German car. Normally they always got at least 1 or 2 blank switches here and there.
6.
Nice.
They do, yeah. This car, it's just so loaded up that it's got nothing. It's got no blank switches.
Tell it's the top of the line.
It's the top of the line. This car, you know, it does feel a little big when you're driving it. It's not a go-kart of a car. You can tell you got some mass you're throwing around, but it makes it a great highway cruiser. You know, you're on the highway, you feel substantial, you feel like you're the king of the road. And if you want to pass somebody, you pass them. You're not really worrying about, like, oh, what if he gasses it? Because it's just like you're gone. It's just.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Claremont.
Because when you stand outside of this car and you hear it go, it's really loud, and you wouldn't notice unless you had the windows down.
Yeah, standing outside or even driving behind it, you really notice the exhaust out of this car. But you're right, it's pretty isolated. You can't even. That's one negative I think is I wish you could hear the exhaust a little more. I mean, you're paying $7,000 for this exhaust.
The only people who get to enjoy it are not in the car.
I know. What do they pay? They paid $0 to walk next to me on the street. We should be enjoying the sound here, okay?
Basically, that's like a charitable purchase.
Yeah.
You get to hear the great exhaust.
The exhaust should be tax deductible, in my opinion, but it's not really.
Another thing is, AMG gets so much props in their exhaust, and I really don't think it sounds any better than this at all. Because when you're outside of this car, it sounds like a exotic V8. You know, it goes up. You can hear it increasing revs. With an AMG, you just hear kind of a low grunt, and it's like just throaty the whole time. With this, it actually makes different tones.
This has more of a personality.
It has a
AMG.
personality, and it's.
AMG sounds great. You know, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
There's something else to this car.
And, like, you know, you want to downshift and get some pops. Get a little pops. That's what you get.
Little pop.
Little pops. It's pretty fun.
Mexico is pretty fun, isn't it?
It's really fun. Oh, that was good. So that was at a pretty comfortable speed I got up to there, and the traction control light followed me all the way till I let off the gas. It's pretty insane. One thing that you notice too in the interior is all the screens BMW puts in here are high end. They're high resolution. They're quality stuff.
Here's how much room is actually in the back seat. I'm 6'4", with long legs, and I fit back there pretty comfortably behind someone like him. And I can't say that about most cars.
No, you get in this car and you're like, this is something. You know, you get this leather dash. The speaker greets you, comes out of the dashboard. At night, the interior lighting is just fantastic. These seats are gorgeous. The leather's all beautiful. It's carbon fiber. It's just, there's a sense of occasion in this car that you just don't get from a Cadillac, and honestly, or the older Mercedes. It's just not there. This is the 2016 BMW M5 competition pack, and it's been an absolute pleasure having it for the day.
Leave your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.